Let's get moving. So everyone is welcome, and let's start with this. I've shown this slide a couple of times before. Doesn't matter. The message is clear. So the purpose of being on these webinars is for you that are listening right now. And maybe you're a bunch of people getting together, sitting in a room. That's fine, but it's you that have those two ears and those two eyes that you should listen with and that you should read with. And then you are responsible for your personal development. And it starts with you. Any business, leadership is created on the top. And the culture is created on the top. So whatever will, uh, you know, sizzle down in your organization, it starts with you. So that is why this slide is so important, that you are about to create leadership. And the purpose of creating that leadership is to understand and following principles. And then you will go, well, doesn't everyone understand that? And I'm telling you, no, most people don't understand that. That's why most people are dead broke and they are living not the life that they want. They don't fulfill all their dreams because no one ever told them that it was possible. But I will tell you that we are designed for success. We are designed for success. So that means also that you can take a look, and most people want to be successful. Most people want to be successful. They want to have a better life. They want to do something more. They want to, you know, doesn't matter who you ask. You can go out in the street and you will get the same answer. Of course they want, because why do they, in that case, play all, you know, lotto and gambling and try to win stuff? Because they want to change their situation. So everyone has that urge. Maybe not everyone, but most everyone. So if we understand that, then we also know that that's a lot of potential in that when you're building your business, because people are looking for a person like you crossing their way, telling them to, hey, I have a way out. So when we know that we're designed for success, everyone wants to be successful, most everyone, then we can see that success is predictable. You can look at the person, what they do and what they spend most of the time on, how they behave, their actions, and then you can say, yep, that's a successful way. That person will be successful. And I'm not talking about being successful for a year or two. I'm talking about being successful for a long time. Most people can make some money in a short period of time. That's not success. But since we can predict success, also failure is predictable, because you can say, well, that person is not going to be successful the way he or she is behaving, their actions, their habits. Write that down. Habits. Yeah, I forgot to mention that when you're on these webinars, it's good to have a piece of pen and paper. So everything in life is designed to following those laws. Okay? And those laws you will hear on these webinars. So if everyone wants to be successful, why do not people become successes, or why do they fail? Well, because they don't either know how to follow laws, or they don't know about the laws, or they haven't had someone taught them how to follow laws. And that's so important to understand, that it starts with every person has their own choice. And we talk a lot about mindset. And this is just a warming up. So these first slides just warming up for the subjects that's coming here today. And you can read, success in life is a result of decisions. Failure in life is also a result of decisions. So people who succeed, who become successful, they make certain choices. People who fail make other choices, but they make the choice. So everyone has to make up their own mind. Everyone makes up their mind, and everyone becomes what they decide to be. And here's a thing that comes from Napoleon Hill statement. Maybe some other author or person stated almost the same, but this is his exact words. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. Dwell on that. Have that written down. Think about it. Read it, because it's so powerful. Everything starts within the mind. There's no other way. And I will do this short just to get a glimpse of the background for people who maybe are new, hasn't been here before. And for you that have been here, this is repetition, and repetition is mother of skill. And I use this just to show, because it's hard sometimes to understand, personal development and positive mental attitude. There's a lot of words and principles and following laws, and it's get all confusing. But if you bring it down to a understanding that we have a life, we came to this planet, you know, and what's the meaning to be here? Is it just run around like crazy and trying to survive, living in the survival mode? No. Is it just to do, get free stuff and do nothing and just no, not that either. So what's the meaning of life? Well, this is an example that you can use, which come from the philosopher Maslow, but it's principles. So that's why it's so good. But he came up with a good thing, what he called the meaning of life, and he put it down in like a pyramid. He called it the self-actualization pyramid, which he describes as the meaning of life. And the purpose is that we all start in the bottom, but we should not stay in the bottom. So we should not only stay thinking about the most basic needs, but to move up to the next level, like to move up from psychology needs to safety needs, and to love and belonging, and to esteem, to move all the way up. We need to do something. And if we need to do something, we need to change the way we think. That's why we're here today. So Maslow, he explained in an easy way that the purpose of life is to actually becoming, because you're here to learn, you're here to become. And when you're becoming, that's when you will make the extra money, or you will have material success. We will talk about later in this webinar, because there's no other way. It's success will you will attract success when you're moving up the ladder. And to move up the ladder, you need to get some education. You need to get some new information. You need to behave and act in a different way than you have done before. That's the whole thing. You can't take a shortcut. So that's why most people who are in the lower levels and that inherit money or they win the lottery or something, they are as poor as they were before they won the money because they haven't changed anything in the way they think and the way they act and their habits. So they will lose it. So to keep the money, you need to change the way you think. So that was Maslow, and it's a good foundation to be standing on. I'm not saying that Maslow was everything and that he was this you should believe everything he says, but that model is really good to use as an understanding of why we're here at this webinar. So people are actually as happy as they make up their mind to be. It's a choice. Never forget it. People choose. And then you say, well, not everyone because they're in a situation. Well, but at some point, people will get their information how to move out of that situation, and they choose not to. So if they're in a bad situation, they get some advice. They had some um, advice in their upbringing from their parents, or they actually know what to do, but they don't. So happiness is a choice and decision. We make up our mind. And I use this because it's so good. I love this statement. Do not be conformed to this world. And what is this world? Well, you can find out for yourself, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Wow, powerful, powerful words. Because the world is teaching one thing, and what you hear at these webinars is another thing. And then you go, what? Are you against, the world and the living? No, no, that's not what I'm saying. We have to live in the world. We have to be here. But I'm telling you, if you have some wisdom, you've been around for a while, you will know the difference. And that's why we have these webinars. So the world is teaching one thing, and then there's the real laws that we're talking about here. Okay? So that's why we have these webinars. We need to get some new information. We need to get some good stuff inside our head. So again, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. There's three things: conceive, number two, believe, and three, achieve. Write that down. So here's a couple of examples before we go into the depth of this. So the progress you will make by taking control of your own mind, because that's what it's all about. And then you go, oh, I don't understand. What do you mean, taking control of my mind? Well, when you get to the bottom, when you get to the truth that no one controls your life except yourself. You're not a victim. You're a victor. You will raise above problems because you have that inside of you. You were born to succeed. Then some people, like we said before, the world will come and tell you, no, it's not possible. You can't do that, or some negative stuff. The dream busters will come your way. That's where you need to take control of your mind. So how do we do that? Well, to being on these webinars is one way. You are actually taking control of what information goes into your mind. What kind of books do you read? What do you listen to? But also, when stuff happens, you can't go into negative thinking. You have a choice. Your thoughts are not random stuff that just come and go. You can choose what to think about stuff. That's the power of controlling your mind. But of course, what you think today is a collection of what you've been thinking up until today, and it's a collection of what you have been listening to, reading up until today. So these are the positive sides, the riches you may enjoy of taking control of your mind. When you take control of your own mind, number one, you will get sound health. Health is part of personal development. You will start to recognize that a healthy thinking will affect the whole body. But also you will start getting, it's like a car doesn't run if you don't make services, if you don't change the oil, if you don't put gas in, if you don't, have the right air pressure in your tires and so on. And we're the same. We need service. We need to come back to do service, to be at these webinars and to find some good advice. That is the same thing as making a service on your car. You will get ideas. You know that why do successful people, and there's probably just a percentage of them, if you take the whole world, you have, and I'm not talking about the crooks out there. They're I'm talking about the honest people. They're working hard and making good progress in life, following the laws, building business, becoming entrepreneurs. They often take more good care of themselves. So like eating vitamins is a byproduct of you know uh, positive mental attitude. You understand that the body is everything is functioning together. So positive mental attitude to take control of your mind will give you sound health. Will also give you peace of mind. Wow. And I will not go all. There's another webinar when we go through all these, but I'm just giving you an example of the positive side of taking control of your mind. You will get freedom from fear and worry when you start your positive mental attitude, controlling your thinking. You will choose the labor of your own choice. You know what kind of business you want to be in. You're in this business, and now you are the captain of your ship. Okay, of your ship. So a positive mental attitude is another thing that comes from controlling your mind. Take control of your mind. And of course, material riches. So these are the positive sides of controlling your mind. What's the penalties of not taking control of your own mind? Well, you can probably turn those positives around, the opposites, but ill health, fear and worry, indecision and doubt, frustration and discourage, poverty, and then a bunch of stuff like envy, greed, jealousy, superstition, and a lot of other stuff. That's the penalties of not taking control of your own mind. So you can clearly see, persons that have these penalties because they're not in control of their own thinking. They let someone else control their thinking. They let the news or the media or the world control their thinking. Wow. So you can see that it ties into what Maslow's talking about. You need to take control of your own thinking to move up in the ladder of the meaning of life. So the meaning of life is to be in control of your thinking, not to let someone else control, because there's a lot of people that want to control your thinking. And especially today with all the information that just, every day there's, social media, online, there's a lot of information. You got to be in control of what you believe or not believe. That's why you need the foundation. That's what we talk about here on these webinars, the foundation. So we are, never forget it, we are as happy as we make up our mind to be. It's so true. I will now go through, we will do a whole webinar with this, but I will now go through a formula, which also is from Mr. Hill, and he calls it the Q and Q plus MA. And this stands for the quality of the service that you render. The quality, the first Q is the quality of the service that you give other people. The service you provide, the quality of that service, plus the quantity. How much do you give that service? So for you, it's really easy. We'll come to that later. So the quality and the quantity, write it down, plus your mental attitude will give you the success. Some people don't get it. This formula is such a powering formula. And some people go like, oh, what a Q and M. Hey, I don't really get it. You need to get into the thinking of the quality of the service plus the quantity of the service plus your mental attitude while doing it. So I will not go through the whole thing here, but this is an amazing formula. And I will show you how it works. So you see the quality and the quantity and your mental attitude of that service. So action is what separates the successful from the non-successful. Because one of the Q in that formula is quantity. So you got to take action. Some people, when they hear that, thinking is so important, they believe that they can just sit at home and think themselves to success. No, doesn't work that way. And we've been through that. You can't just sit at home and think you can attract. You got to go out and do it. So action is so important. That's why people have goals, because those goals, they will make them move. The goal setting in the equation is so important, because the goals that people have are the fire behind everything. So people with goals, they succeed because they know where they're going. They're going towards their goals. And you need those goals when you meet negative people, negative surroundings. You need the world is coming at you with disinformation. Then you need to know where you're going. You need to have those goals. And there is No change without action. So you see how that ties into, go back to Maslow. He says, number one, that the purpose of being here is to move up in the ladder. Number two, so to move up, you need new information, you need to educate yourself because you can't change without changing the way you think. Number three, you got to take action. There's no change with action. When you render that service, you go out in the world and you give service to other people. And the formula was how much of that service you do. Okay, we have a system. I will not talk about the system here today, but I will show you how this ties into today's subject. We have a system where I think education is the most important thing. And then you go, well, that's probably because you do the education. Well, no, I'm just here because that's why I'm here. But education is the changer, the key changer for everyone. And you will see how right I am. Because at the first look, you will actually get some education. You will actually get some new information. For the new person who attend the first look in the system, they will get some new information that they hadn't before, which will make them go make the decision to do it or not to do it. So that ties into the Q and Q and MA. How good are you and how much do you do your service? And what's your mental attitude while you're doing it? So you see how this works. Within the system, you're actually using the Q and Q and MA code. So we're taking action. We're bringing people through the system. We take them to the first look. We take them to the business presentation, which is the second look, or a webinar, or training, whatever that could be. And then we have the education, which is these webinars, the leadership weekends, the events, and stuff. And then the events, which contains all of the 4 blocks. So now you take the formula Q plus MA. So the quality of the service that you do within the system plus the quantity of the service you do within the system and your mental attitude while you're doing it. Ooh. Some people got it, some people didn't get it, some people will get it within a month, next year, within 10 years, doesn't matter. We can only plant. We can only be the planters. So back to the formula. Can you see how that ties into what we're doing, what you are doing, what people are doing? And this, you can see it's a principle because it doesn't matter. You own a gas station, okay? Then you take the quality of the service you have at the gas station and the quantity of the service you have at your gas station, plus your mental attitude while doing the service at the gas station. You can put this formula into any situation, doesn't matter. That's why it's a principle. But we got to realize that's why people don't get it. They will blame other people for not being successful, which they can't because it's everyone's own decision. You make those decisions. And you will realize, if you're honest to yourself, that you could have done better. And then some people want to blame someone else. But the results of what we're doing, it has always a delay. All businesses have delay. Some businesses, and some people it takes a year, 2 years to build something up, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Every result has a delay. But especially in this industry, we have a delay. So all the results that you are having today, you did 6 months ago. So if you didn't do them with the formula Q and Q plus MA, then you can start now. Then you will realize it will take a couple of months for that to happen. And that's why it's so important that when we're moving through the system, the first thing a person need is to know why they're doing it. Because if they don't have a why, if they don't have goals, they will stop doing it. And we set goals, material, financial, social, and we teach the new people how to set goals. We teach the new people how to go through the system. And you need short-term goals, long-term goals. You need to have a time frame. You need to write them down, and you need to read your goals frequently. This is the fire behind everything you do. Then, of course, you need team goals. You need to set goals with your team. Volume breaking records for next week, next month. How many new prospects are we going to bring on board? You need to find your key people. I will not go through all this. This is a whole webinar in itself. But you need to have people attending the webinars and all the presentations. They need to attend these webinars and they need to attend the events. These are team goals. So this is why you are the captain on your ship. You need to inspect what's going on in your organization. You can't just hope that everything will be all right. You got to make it happen by inspect what you expect. Do you expect volume to increase? Then you need to make it happen. So you got to follow up your own goals. You got to follow up the team goals, and you got to follow up what everyone is doing, your key people. And if you do that, the best of your life is the rest of your life. Because we are not who we think we are. We are who we think we are. With that, I will let you go, friends, and I'll see you next Sunday. And stay prosperous, happy, joyous, and free. And most of all, free.